Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. BYU program we've talked about a lot on this show over the last probably year or so. And the reason we've been talking about them so much is because, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm whatever. But I was kind of one of the first people that kind of picked up on like, oh, there's something going on over there. Eric Musselman leaves for USC. John Calipari leaves for Arkansas. Mark Pope leaves for Kentucky. BYU hires this guy, Kevin Young, that nobody knows very much about. But if you were paying close attention this time last year, it was like, oh, they're putting together a squad. And it was right around, I think it was in May, that Yegor Demon, who's going to be a lottery pick, committed out of Russia. Cannon Catchings didn't quite work out, but he was obviously a very high-profile recruit. Loved some of their portal additions, Mawit Mag and guys of that nature. Didn't realize how good Kebakeda was, okay? But I bring it up because it was obviously an incredible calendar year one for Kevin Young. You make a Sweet 16 for the first time since 2011. But I'll tell you this, I think the moment that we all realized, that America realized, people, if you listen to this show, if you know me, then we realized it before most everybody else, okay? But I think the moment that everybody kind of realized just what this BYU thing could be, well, it came in whatever it was. I think it was November of this year when AJ Dybantsa, number one recruit in America, could go anywhere in college basketball that he wanted. He chose BYU. Number one player in America. We're going to talk about his game in a minute, but I think I said this the other day. With the offseason here, I have obviously a little bit more free time. I'm not watching as many games as I was. I went back and put on some AJ Dybantsa highlights from like the Hoop Summit and things like. I forgot how freaking good this kid is. Like sometimes we overrate some of these kids. But I'll tell you this. I remember years ago, an assistant coach at a high major told me, he said, even within McDonald's All-Americans, there are kids that are Big Macs and there are kids that are double cheeseburgers. In other words, even amongst McDonald's All-Americans, there are the dudes that are like the next level to all of the other guys. Okay. It was Cooper Flagg last year, Paolo Banchero, Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley. AJ Dybantsa is that dude. 6'9", 7'1" wingspan, athletic, tough, skilled, plays both ends of the court. Okay. Well, I bring it up because I was scrolling through social media on Wednesday night, watching the Lakers get smoked, which we'll talk about in a minute because my boy JJ Redick he's hurting right now. But I only bring it up to very simply say something came across my Twitter feed, and that's this. AJ Dybantsa is officially on campus at BYU. Producer Matt, there he is. There he is. And he put out a tweet that said, quote, Kribski. He's in the house. He's wearing BYU gear. It is official. The number one player in America is officially on campus. And I am just here to say this. It is go time for the Cougars. Torres is Cougar crazy. And I'm here to tell you, everybody else is about to be. Listen, I've said it. It's not hyperbole. This is going to be the most anticipated season in BYU history. I can't wait to watch it unfold. And now that AJ Dybantsa is officially on campus, I think it's time to talk about what are realistic expectations for this team. Because the cool thing about AJ Dybantsa, and we've talked about this, is once he commits, even at BYU, and I think BYU is going to be great for a long time under Kevin Young, okay? But even after AJ Dybantsa commits, I think the folks at BYU realized, hey, we have this 1-year window where the best under 19 player in the world is going to be on our campus. And even as good as we think Kevin Young is going to be, that is a situation that no one except maybe Duke, maybe Kentucky, nobody finds themselves in that situation this often, okay? And so when you have that opportunity, you have to take full advantage, and it's just like we got to do everything we can to maximize this 1 year. By the way, I'll give credit to Duke. I asked John Shire about this at the Final Four. I said, when you got Cooper Flagg, it feels like you built a team. You actively sought out pieces to complement Cooper Flagg. 7'1" center, Kaman Malawach. Big guard, Sion James, Tyrese Proctor. He said, yeah. He said, we knew we had the best player in the world at his age group, maybe the best player in college basketball. We had to take full advantage. I think BYU is doing the same. So first off, I'll say this. Really good roster around him. Richie Saunders is officially back. We talked about him the other day. He officially announced his return last weekend. I mean, he could be first team All-American. He might listen. You want to talk about not being hyperbolic? I think you could argue that AJ Dybantsa and Richie Saunders could be in the argument for an a first team All-American going into next year. Richie Saunders was a player that, by the way, if it wasn't for JT Toppin, Richie Saunders might have been the Big 12 Player of the Year this year. Okay, we talked about him just the other day as it pertained to his return. But I mean, this was a guy that averaged 16.5 points per game, 43% three-point shooting, and was one of the best players in college basketball, specifically over the last month of the season. Okay, so in BYU's final, let's do some math here: 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games. So 11 games, including the Kansas game that I was at. Richie Saunders scored 20 or more points in 7 of their final 11 games, okay? That included 25 points in the Sweet 16 against Bama, 25 points in the round of 32 against Wisconsin. I don't think they beat Wisconsin without him. 23 against Iowa State in the Big 12 tournament, 23 against Iowa State on the road, 26 against Arizona State, 23 in the win at McHale Center, okay? And so I just bring it up because he himself is an All-American in his own right. He is officially back. Now, he did an interview with BYU TV Sports Nation. Love the guys there. I've been on the show a few times. Love those guys. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I think Richie Saunders himself kind of realized, we have a special window here to do something special. I want to be part of it. We mentioned a few weeks ago, Robert Wright, transfer from Baylor. I'll tell you this, I'm working on my final transfer portal rankings. In other words, just basically like, my top ranked players, Yaxel Lendenberg will be number 1 all the way down to, 100, 150, whatever I end up doing. Robert Wright, in my opinion, is a top 10 player in the portal, was in the portal this offseason. 11.5 points, whatever it was, 5.5, 5 assists per game, 35% three-point shooting as a freshman in the Big 12 this year. And what I think is interesting is I think if you literally took every single player in the portal and you focused on exactly what BYU needed to complement AJ Dybantsa, Richie Saunders, and Keba Keita, who obviously is coming back as well, I think you could argue Robert Wright was probably the most perfect fit of every single player that entered the portal this offseason. And you talk about a guy that is going to have an immediate impact this season for the BYU Cougars. Also worth mentioning, by the way, BYU did take a commitment on Thursday afternoon. Not a big guy, a wing from Idaho. I think that everybody kind of realizes what his role is going to be. He's going to be able to come in, shoot threes. Tyler Mroos, I think is how you say the name. 6'7" wing, averaged 10 points per game on 38% three-point shooting. If he's your 7th or 8th man, look at producer Matt. I didn't know Tyler Mroos had pictures on Google, and you found one. Unbelievable. Producer here, you know what? You just got Employee of the Month for Aaron Torres Media. I mean, you're technically the only employee, but you know what? Darn it. You are the Employee of the Month. There's Tyler Mroos right there, okay? He comes in 6'7", three-point shooter, 9.5 points, closer to 10, really. 10 points per game, 38%. This team's going to be awesome, okay? And so as far as next season, like I said, most anticipated in school history, I don't even think there's a doubt. And it really speaks to, we talked about earlier about the impact that Rick Pitino has at St. John's. How about the impact that AJ Dybantsa is going to have on this team and this program and the national profile? Opening their season in Vegas against Villanova. That's a game that I hope to be at. I don't know if I'll be there, but I'm hoping to be there. They are playing in the Jimmy V Classic John Rothstein reported about a week or 2 ago. So we'll see what happens there. That's going to be in New York City. They're going to have a high-profile opponent. They're playing in one of the Hawaii tournaments, which will obviously be on ESPN. And I've been told they are going to play a game in Boston where AJ Dybantsa is originally from, and it's going to be a high-profile opponent. Now, I was told originally it was going to be UConn. Now it's feeling like it might not be UConn, but I do expect BYU to play a game there. But I just bring it up because this is about to overnight become a national program, a program that we all have to pay attention to. And I don't want to say it's exclusively because of AJ Dybantsa, because that's disrespectful to Richie Saunders, to Keba Keita, to Kevin Young, to the coaching staff, to Rob Wright, to Tyler Mroos, our new guy here. But what I will say is this is becoming one of the more fascinating stories, and I am so excited. And as far as expectations, I'm here to tell you that can't be high enough. Listen, I understand the history of this program. Never been to a Final Four, never won a national championship. This was the first Sweet 16 that this program has been to since 2011. And so, listen, I don't want to put any, too much positive energy out there. There's a full season to play. But when you look at this team, again, I say it all the time, this time of year, all I'm doing all day, every day, is looking at rosters and trying to figure out who's going where, what's the fit here, blah, 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 this and that. And so I only bring it up because when I look at this BYU roster, I think it's okay to dream big. We said it with Richie Saunders. It's okay to dream big if you're a BYU fan. You're going to have the number one player in America, probably the number one pick, another All-American in Richie Saunders, and I think Rob Wright is an all-Big 12 first-team kind of guy. And oh, by the way, Cape Ikeda is a monster as well. So get excited, BYU fans, but AJ Dybantsa officially on campus. He was going to get there at some point, but it is May 1st, and he is there. He is practicing in the facility, and it is officially game on for one of the most anticipated seasons in school history. And I'll tell you this, I am as excited. Just, I'll say this, talking about scheduling stuff, talking about this, talking about that. I know we all got a football season to get to, and we all love college football. I can't wait for college hoops. Can't wait for college hoops. BYU will be as fascinating of a team to follow as anybody. By the way, we might have some exclusive BYU content here coming in the next few weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And by the way, make sure you're following Torres on BYU on Twitter.